Welcome to Realizing Real Estate. Each week we will be issuing a new edition, an interview with an investor, developer, business leader, government official, scholars, and others, all who in some way impact the world of real estate and the quality of your investment. Real estate has many facets. We will explore many of them in these brief podcasts. Every one of our guests will be interviewed in greater depth and length on our weekly radio show, Our House, which is broadcast every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WBN 930 a.m. and 98.5 FM HD3 in the Buffalo Niagara Marketplace, but is accessible anywhere in the world on the Odyssey app or at WBN.com. All of Realizing Real Estate podcasts are available at the iTunes Store, and our House radio shows are archived on our blog at huntrealestate.com. Join us every week and give us your feedback and suggestions for future topics, also at huntrealestate.com. Welcome to Realizing Real Estate. This is Peter Hunt, and this show is brought to you by huntrealestate.com and Hunt Mortgage. And the purpose of this podcast is to help you protect and enhance your investment in real estate right here in Western New York or wherever you may live. And we're hoping we're reaching a bigger and bigger audience, because I think it's important that we look at all aspects of our life that affects our value of real estate. And today we're going to be discussing one very important part of our real estate existence, which is public land. And here to express her expertise on this very topic is Catie Stephenson, the Executive Officer of the Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy. Welcome, Catie.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It's good to have you here. Tell us a little about Catie Stephenson.
Oh, sure. I'm a Buffalo native, and I've actually worked with the Conservancy for 7 years. I am new to the Executive Director role, just started in January. I have a background in government affairs and history and advocacy and nonprofit management. But I really, when I first came to the Conservancy in 2017, I was not what you would consider to be a parks person. I loved parks and grew up, going to the parks in Buffalo and going to parks in other cities that I lived. But it was really when I started working at the Conservancy that I developed such a passion for public space and really started to understand the impact that parks can have on our communities. So I've been in the Executive Director role since January of this year. It's been just a few months, but it also feels like forever. And I'm just really proud to be in that role and very happy to be here speaking with you about it today.
Well, it's great to have you here. What is the mission of the Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy?
Sure. So the Conservancy is tasked with maintaining, stewarding, and advocating for public space in Buffalo as it relates to the historic parks. But our organization has a vision of an exceptional park network for everybody in Buffalo. So that includes the historic parks that are Olmsted designed that we take care of, as well as the parks that are non-historic in Buffalo.
You mentioned the concept of public space, and obviously we're very interested in private space.
Sure.
Because that's how we deal in. The relationship of public and private space is hard to measure. Mm-hmm. But if you were to just opine on what that relationship looks like, how important is it as a private owner of a private residence, or wherever apartment for that matter, how important is that relationship of that space, that private space, to the public space in terms of the value of their real estate?
Sure. So, back in Olmsted's time, he came to Buffalo originally in 1868. But one of the things that he studied as a landscape architect was the value that parks have on the environment, on the economy, and on public health. And he believed strongly that parks and public space would enhance the value of people's homes. And I think we see that today. There is national nonprofit research that has come out over the last couple of years that has really started to quantify what that looks like. And from my understanding, a real estate investment can increase between 5 and 25% depending on its proximity to a public park, as well as how well maintained that public space is and how active that public space is. So the better maintained, the more active, the most likely the greater value that park will add to property.
And in your opinion, based on where we are in terms of the standards that have been set for the parks, how close are we to the better end of that spectrum than the worse end?
I have not had the opportunity to do any specific analysis, but I think if you walk around the Olmsted system, it's clear that homes that are on an Olmsted designed landscape or within walking distance to a park are experiencing an increase of value that's on the higher end of that.
Catie Stephenson, Executive Officer of the Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy, thank you for enlightening us about the value of public space and its relationship to private spaces.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Realizing Real Estate. And we'll be right back next week.